The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Welcome back. It's great to be back to the regular show and the bonus show, back from Thanksgiving. Nice long weekend. I did a fair amount of sleeping, Pat. I think Saturday night I ended up actually being out kind of late, and so I did not get nearly as much sleep as I wanted. But overall, a pretty solid weekend.
Oh, I slept a whole bunch this weekend. I made that a priority,
Yeah.
Especially after the Thanksgiving Day meal. A lot of people think that you sleep a long period after Thanksgiving because of the tryptophan and the turkey, but I think it's just that you're eating a big meal. It's all those calories, and then after you eat all those calories, you just want to take it easy for a while.
Yeah, I actually don't like a lot of the Thanksgiving staples. Like, I don't care about stuffing. I don't think stuffing is very good. It's wet croutons, you know? I mean, okay, fine. I realize I'm totally precise here, but I'm not into that. That sweet potato with marshmallow thing, we don't have that anywhere that I go, but it doesn't seem appealing to me. A lot of the turkey, it's just like, I'd rather chicken, I really would. I've never been a huge Thanksgiving meal guy.
I'm a big fan of mashed potatoes. Got to make them vegan, of course, but I love the mashed potatoes. I really like the side dishes in general for Thanksgiving. Right. Of course, I can't have the turkey, but I always do something a little bit different. And stuffing, yeah, I wasn't able to have the stuffing this year because it was made with chicken broth.
Sure.
And that's unfortunate. I always like stuffing, but I never liked the technique of putting it inside the turkey and then baking it. I always found that kind of creepy.
The other thing is I don't really like pie. I know that this is a controversial thing because there are, particularly in the Northeast, what's more American than apple pie, and there's pecan pie and sweet potato pie and blueberry pie. I've just never really been into pie. Pumpkin pie is actually okay, but I just don't I would much rather flan, panna cotta, chocolate babka, tiramisu. I just am not into pie.
I'm usually indifferent towards pie, but when it comes to dessert, I love chocolate. So if it's a chocolate pie, then we're having a conversation. Like a chocolate pudding pie, that is supreme to me.
And that can be vegan?
That can be vegan. You can make anything vegan these days. It's kind of crazy.
Can you make vegan turkey?
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah. I mean, they have like turkey lunch meat. You can just have a bunch of that and maybe assemble it into the shape of a turkey. And then it just feels like you're having a normal Thanksgiving.
Well, listen, I am here to say that I am almost ready to swear off turkey as a Thanksgiving staple because as it is, I don't find it that good. And every year, no matter where I go, there's always the time that it takes is always way off. It often takes, just insanely longer than people think. It delays the meal. It's quite frankly not that great. Like it's quite, and I know people say if it's not that great, you're not doing it right. No, I've had what I understand is pretty good turkey, and I just don't like it that much. So my recommendation going forward is going to be just roast 2 or 3 chickens, depending on how many people you have coming. It's much more predictable in terms of how long it will take. I find it far more tasty, and it's less likely to throw off the entire meal by coming out raw when you expect the thing to be done.
Yeah, I have a theory that people in general aren't big fans of turkey because maybe that's why we have to have a holiday around it. Like we don't have to have a holiday where we all eat hamburgers or a holiday where we all eat pizza or chicken because people generally like those foods. But maybe people don't like turkey so much, so we have to come up with a reason to eat it.
Yes.
I think that's what Thanksgiving's all about, isn't it?
That may be. And in fact, I don't want to participate in that either. However, I know we talked a lot with viewers before the break about politics at the Thanksgiving table, and most of the scenarios are in very politically mixed company. Like Pat has talked about having a conservative contingent in his family, and callers call in about that and they say, how do I handle it? And my advice generally is, if you feel the need to talk politics at all, try to be more inquisitive about why do people hold the beliefs they have instead of going in with an agenda and trying to beat people over the head. I happen to be in relatively homogenous company for Thanksgiving, where everybody was on the left. But interestingly, when the topic of the Democratic primary came up, there were some really interesting disagreements where a couple people at the table were very much for Elizabeth Warren. Other people at the table were very much anti-Bernie, where even though they considered themselves very progressive, they thought that the coalition around Bernie was a toxic one and that they were worried about Bernie winning for that reason and because they were worried about his electability. There was another contingent at the table that hadn't really been paying attention to the polls and really liked Amy Klobuchar. And when I said, well, that's interesting, I'd be curious politically why you like her, but I don't know if you're aware, she's been polling 1% since the beginning, and she'll be lucky to make it to the next debate. They didn't even know, which in a way I found kind of quaint and nice, where they weren't being impacted by who has a shot. They just liked Amy, and they said they liked Amy, and that's it.
Yeah, but you have to have realistic expectations too, right? Like, I mean, being in Massachusetts, there are some people in my family who like Deval Patrick. I don't know if they necessarily support him for president, but when I mentioned that he's just floundering in the polls, like maybe he has 0.5%, they don't take too kindly to that. Also, at my dinner table, we didn't get too political, but we all did bash Joe Biden a little bit because there's Trump supporting members of my family. There are Bernie supporting members of my family, but we could all agree on one thing, and that's that Joe Biden is not up to the job. He's just not all there cognitively, and it's a sad state of affairs, honestly.
There was a small contingent at my Thanksgiving table that was not, they weren't gushing about Biden as a candidate, but they did fall into this Biden's the only guy that can really beat Trump idea, which the polls don't really support. I mean, it seems like there's several people who, as of right now, could beat Trump, but that is a talking point that has spread pretty far and wide.
It does seem like Biden is the most electable candidate, which is something I'm not too happy to admit because I'm a Bernie guy. I mean, I think Bernie usually ranks second in electability, and he matched up much better than Hillary Clinton did back in 2016. So we always thought of him as like the most electable. Now it seems like Biden's more electable. And one more point. I think back during the Obama administration, my family was a lot more eager to talk about politics, especially the right wingers. And they would go after Obama on two things. One, scandals, and two, the debt and deficit. Now it seems that the tables have turned quite a bit, and they're not so eager to talk about politics, especially because I'm going to be able to bring up those two things right away.
Did it get at any point tense or adversarial?
No, I tried to keep it away from being tense or adversarial, but it's just so hard for me because I'm such a politically minded person. You know, I love talking about this, especially with people who disagree with me. And I'm capable of having that, cordial conversation. But I think once it starts, some members of my family that are more apolitical worry that it's going to get too argumentative, and they try to back me off of it. And I usually oblige.
All right. So that was Pat's situation, and that was mine. Relatively uneventful in that sense. Now, I have something really interesting I want to sort of pull back the curtain on for you guys. And I haven't told Pat about this, and I think you guys are going to find this very, very interesting. So over the years, we've run different membership specials. And when we do the really big membership discounts, like the one we did on Black Friday a few days ago, the discount applies almost always only to a yearly membership. So for example, we'll take a $60 membership and discount it to $20.19. And the coupon code, as we set it up in our system, only works to discount a yearly membership. So if you went and tried to apply the code to a monthly membership, you would get a message that says invalid code. And every time we do this, invariably, I will get, sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 15 emails from people saying, David, I'm trying to sign up, but your code is invalid. And I know what's going on. I've emailed you and I've said, I put it in bold, this code will only work on the yearly membership. It will not work on any other membership. And then they say, yeah, it's still not working. And I say, send me a screenshot. And then invariably they send a screenshot of trying to apply the code to a monthly membership. And then I explain it to them. And then some number of those 10, 15, whatever, 80% probably come back and figure it out and sign up for the membership. And this time I had an idea. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send out the email I normally do saying this code works on the yearly membership. You have to select yearly, apply the code, and it'll discount a yearly membership. But I went in behind the scenes. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't mention it in the email. I made it so that the code would work on a monthly membership as well. Because what I suspected, Pat, was that if I'm hearing from 5, 10, or 15 people who are going in, typing in the code, getting an error message and emailing me, there's probably a lot more people that are trying it, getting the error message, and they're not emailing me. They're just leaving, right? We're just losing them. They're never signing up because they're like, it's not working. I'm out of here. So this time I did the promo the same way, but unbeknownst, at least in a formal public way to anyone, the code worked on a monthly membership. 45 people applied the code successfully to a monthly membership. So imagine that, as usual, the code returned an error when applied to a monthly membership. Would 45 people have emailed me saying it's not working? I don't think so. We've only ever gotten 5, 10, or 15. So what I believe is the case is that by quietly making the code work on the monthly membership, we probably got an extra 35 or so members who may not even realize that they literally did the opposite of what the instructions say, but the membership's code still worked. And that's my story.
It sounds like you just didn't want to deal with it this year. Is that what it was?
Not fully, no. I mean, it was more of a curiosity, although it is true that it was Black Friday. And after sending out the email, I wasn't doing much else. So I wasn't looking to be tied to my email answering those inquiries. But it was more just a curiosity. And very clearly, we came out ahead. Now, you could argue some of those people might only stay members 2 or 3 months. So you'll end up making less. Maybe, maybe not, because again, a lot of those people would have abandoned without getting any membership. So I still think we're coming out ahead.
Well, there may have been some of those 45 people who realized that it didn't work when they tried to apply the coupon to the monthly membership and then just switched over to yearly and then realized, oh, okay, this is how you have to do it. But I don't know how many of those people it would have been, maybe 10 and maybe 5 would have emailed you. So yeah, it sounds like some people got away with a killer deal and they didn't even know that they were doing that. They didn't even know they were getting such a great deal.
There has never been more of a reward. And I feel conflicted because on the one hand, my instinct is not to reward people for, these are like 5-line emails. They're not super complicated. So rewarding people for not understanding or not actually reading the email, it feels weird. But at the same time, listen, I'd rather have you signed up at some price as opposed to just abandoning altogether. So I chalk it up to a win.
Do people ever accuse you of fraud, like you're scamming them, like you promised them this great discount on membership and then they went in to actually sign up for the membership and lo and behold, there's a catch. You have to sign up for a yearly membership instead of a monthly membership.
No, because
people
again,
ever make that argument?
The email says it very, very clearly. Every once in a while, I get an email from someone saying, yeah, but I can only pay monthly. And I'm like, well, so the email said this is for a yearly membership. Anything you can imagine has happened. It basically is the point that I would make.
And this is pretty standard stuff. I've signed up for things like I signed up for Photoshop recently, and I know that you can get a student discount if you sign up for the yearly membership,
right?
But you can't get that same student discount if you sign up for the monthly membership. I think plenty of other businesses do this. People should be used to this stuff by now. But it never surprises me what people come across and what people try to pull off.
So in any case, I think that the lesson learned is even when we run membership specials in the future that are meant for just yearly, I should just allow the code to work on monthly because it does seem like we're coming out ahead. And again, we just want supporters. It doesn't really matter. We'll take the monthly, even if the lifetime value of the monthly is less. We'll still take it. We don't turn away support. That's the gist of it. So that's my story. Hope that's interesting to some people. There will be people listening to this bonus show. This will be their first bonus show, and they will come to the realization that they did not follow the directions on Friday, and yet they are still members. So we will have a lot more to discuss this week. We will be doing live streams for the impeachment inquiry hearings that continue on Wednesday, and many other exciting things upcoming. I will speak to you tomorrow.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.